Welcome everybody to the Daily Intimacy. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, September 22nd, and in about 28 minutes, it is the fall equinox, 9:33 a.m. this morning. So what a beautiful time to gather. We're going to begin with a centering. Really happy to see some new people here. It's really nice. So we're going to begin with a centering. So I just invite you to be however you are, sit comfortably. You can lie down for a few minutes if you'd like. You could even stand up and bring some energy to yourself that way. But however you are, I invite you to have a deep breath and gently close your eyes. And let's do that a couple more times. So a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling your belly, and exhale. And you can join me in some sound on your exhalation, especially because you're muted. So nobody can hear you. Open up the jaw and relax the body. Yeah, in the morning, it can be nice to just make some micro movements, especially the neck after sleeping. And let's all together inhale and bring the shoulders up to the ears. And exhale, release them down. Yeah, and let's reach our arms up overhead. Inhale and stretching for those of us that have not yet done our yoga practice this morning. And exhale and release back down. And now, staying with yourself, I invite you to tune in to the earth, to her beautiful, nourishing soil. Just imagine putting your hands and bringing a dose of your own heart and love to her. You can do that, obviously, just in your imagination, except that it's really happening if it's happening in your imagination. And as you rest your hands on the soil, I invite you to open yourself to receive the love and nourishment and healing that comes from the earth. And I think that the more we tap into this in this energetic exchange, the more possibility of the healing that's so needed will happen. It's like we're going about our days, staying in our minds and forgetting. So easy to forget our connection to the greater fill in the blank that's out there, the greater universe, the healing capacity of the earth, and our own healing capacity. As we listen to what other people say and what other people are doing, it can be so easy to forget our own capacity, our own innate spiritual, physical, emotional capacity. And so I feel like bare feet on the earth, hands on the earth, whether we do it actually or we do it in a meditation, it's just a wonderful way to remind ourselves who we really are and how expansive we are and how expansive we can be. Instead of living in a small box of what the media says or what other people say. You have an opportunity every day to reaffirm through gratitude and awareness and connection, your true nature, capital T, capital N, your true nature. So take that in with a really nice deep breath and let it permeate your whole body as you exhale. We'll do that again, breathing in. And then gently open your eyes and come on back. And again, welcome to those of you here for the first time, and welcome back to those of you that have been returning again and again to this beautiful morning, weekly gathering. So nice to see everybody. If you can, I'm scrolling just to see your beautiful faces. You are welcome to do that. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you in the chat if you're just arriving. Thanks, Linda. Where you are arriving from, and if you want to share how you're feeling, I always want to hear that. I'm really excited. First of all, I want to thank Arlene Lieberman, who's here and been coming here and for all the months, many years now in community. And she has connected me with some lovely people. And one of them in particular who's here today, Christine Van Loo, who's joining us from LA, quite early there. Thank you. The people who come from the Pacific Coast get a special thank you, bow down for getting up that early. I'm going to introduce Christine by sharing a video clip of her, and then we'll continue on. And as I think you saw, the theme for today's daily intimacy is rising above limiting beliefs. And so what we would like to do is have Christine share her story and have moments where we all are able to reflect on our limiting beliefs. Some of our limiting beliefs are really obvious and some are not. They're like insidious and just beneath the surface in the subconscious where we can't really access them. And we don't know why something's happening or not happening because we haven't tapped into what the blocks are. So I look forward to this exploration. So plan on this being not only an amazing story, and I'm only saying that because I think that's true. I know that's true. But also time to reflect on your own self, your own life, and especially like we're coming right. This fall has begun, and in a couple minutes we've got the equinox, and we're in the last section of 2020. And for those of you that read my newsletter, I'm sure maybe some of you did and some of you didn't, but I was writing about, what were you thinking back in January of 2020? What were intentions you made for yourself, or maybe you made some New Year's resolutions, and yeah, this year brought the most unexpected things, and we're still here, and we're still, I'm still holding a space of thriving no matter what's happening out there. And so I just invited people in the newsletter yesterday to tap back into what were you thinking back in January about this portion of your life, and what's happened and what's not happened and why. And it was an invitation to come back to your intention, because we do have, because we can, and just holding the frame of the year, the calendar year, as that container. Of course, for those of us that have been celebrating the Jewish New Year, we're in this time period of transition from Rosh Hashanah last weekend to Yom Kippur on Monday, and we're in a new setting, sort of intentions for newness in the coming year. So it's a powerful time. It's the energetic right now is like strong. So so thank you for everybody sharing. Thank you for your comment, Neil. Okay, I didn't really mean to go on that long, but I did. All right, I'm going to share my screen and share this video. I'm gonna make it big. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I watched it yesterday, but wow. Okay. Christine, you have quite a story because I know you didn't come out into the world doing all of those incredible, amazing, um, I don't even have words because I'm kind of like speechless. So yeah, so welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Thank you
being
for
here.
having me. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear, and we'd love to hear, because I know you have you've been giving talks, by the way, also kind of all over, right? Around one of the topics being overcoming or rising above. I like that, rising above limiting beliefs. And
Yeah,
so I think we'd love to hear how it started
sure. Well,
for you.
my general theme is rising above your limiting beliefs, and I'll start with maybe how to peak your confidence, and I have a few other things we could talk about today as well. But as a kid, I was obsessed with the idea of flying. Like, I had dreams about it, and I'd wake up and I spent all my time jumping off chairs, flapping my arms. 20 years later, I found myself working for an entertainment company in Florida, and um, there were aerial acts in the show, and I was just a dancer in the background. And I had to wear this hideous neon psychedelic full body unitard that looked like a box of Skittles vomited all over me with a matching cone hat. And I felt, and this is, as a 7-time national champion, doing this was really embarrassing for me. So, but while I would dance around and prance around the stage, I would watch these aerial acts, and like the heaviness in my heart would just lift because they were so inspiring. And one day my boss called and he asked, Christine, would you be willing to learn 3 basic aerial tricks for our upcoming show? I was in my car before he hung up the phone on his way, my way to his, on the way to his office. And every Thursday from then on, I drive 4 hours from Orlando to Miami, where I spent the remainder of each week training with an old acrobatic teammate of mine who had just retired from Cirque du Soleil. Now, this guy is where he looked like an upside down triangle, big beefy pectoral muscles, an itty bitty little waist, and long flowing jet black hair. Kind of what you get when you mix Fabio with a Dorito. So I nicknamed him Fabio, and I will never forget my first aerial training experience with Fabio. We trained in this oven of a warehouse filled with musty circus costumes on what you call the corde de lis, which is a canvas rope that hangs 32 feet from the ceiling, and that's 3 stories high. And it might look like your typical high school PE rope, but imagine flipping and dangling by one ankle on a rope. And you might imagine it hurts like crazy. So I started learning the corde de lis by climbing one pole up the rope at a time, inch by inch, like a caterpillar. And the first time I managed to climb all the way to the top, so high I could touch a warehouse ceiling, I was so excited. It was like I had won the Olympic gold medal. Unfortunately, in that same moment, my muscles turned into jello, and I slid down the rope like a fireman's pole, tearing off all the skin from my palms. Horrified, I thought, well, there goes the end of my aerial career. Only 2 minutes later, Fabio says, up again. And I'm like, excuse me, did you actually really see my hands? And he said, yes, I did. I'm sorry, Christine, it's the only way, but it's the only way to build up enough strength. So, kid you not, Robyn, I bandaged my hands in toilet paper and duct tape, and I climbed that rope. And 2 hours later, my hands looked like claws, my forearms were swollen like Popeyes, and I got to my hotel room caked in dirt, sweat, and blood. And I laid down on the bed, too tired to even cry. The only thing that had energy were my thoughts, but they berated me. I can't do this. This is way too hard. It's too painful. I'm too old. I'm not strong enough. If you can imagine doing pull-ups for 6 to 8 minutes straight, which is basically the entire length of the Bohemian Rhapsody song, I timed it, then you'll get an idea of what it's like to do an aerial act. And I doubted I had that in me. So my last thought was, I'm not good enough. Now, by a show of hands, I don't know if I can see all of you guys, but how many of you have ever avoided applying for a job, or asking that special someone out for dinner, or speaking in public, or asking for a raise, or anything because you thought you weren't good enough? If you didn't raise your hand, I assume you don't speak English. Because the problem is that 85% of the population, that is 4 out of every 5 of us, according to research by Dr. Joe Robino and other studies, lack self-esteem. The biggest obstacle to your success in business, finance, relationships, personal goals isn't lack of skills or tools or effort or knowledge. It's not believing in yourself. Believing in yourself is the foundation for every action you will take, every goal you will achieve, and every ounce of potential that you will fulfill. But how do you believe in yourself when you don't? That is the question I was suffering with that evening in my hotel room, when every cell in my body was aching and every thought was telling me, you're not good enough. Both inside and out, I was more defeated than I'd ever been before. I want your listeners to notice in everyone, all of you guys who are listening, notice in your own life when you're working toward a goal, the moments when you feel uncomfortable. And all those feelings associated with discomfort: stress, rejection, fear, pain, anger, frustration, as a crossroad. Because discomfort is a dream killer. Discomfort can kill your dreams. The moment you quit in order to feel better is the moment your dream may die. The moment you quit in order to feel better is the moment your dream may die. So I got up and I started packing my bags, and I was on my way out the door to quit. But just before I left, I looked at myself in the face in the mirror and I asked, what do you want? What do you really want? And I heard this little voice in my mind say, I want to fly. And I thought of what Toni Morrison wrote. She wrote, if you want to fly, you have to give up the shit that brings you down. So I knew exactly in that moment what I had to give up. I had to give up being comfortable for a while. I'm sharing this with you because if you want a bigger, better life, you're going to have to make space for discomfort. So what if, instead of judging discomfort as the enemy, you would accept and embrace it as part of the journey? What if you trained yourself to associate the discomfort of your challenges with the outcome of success? I mean, hell, standing here or sitting here before all of you guys, I think I'm seeing the list grow longer and longer. It makes me want to run out that door. But I am training myself to associate this wildly uncomfortable feeling with the outcome of success. What if you were to allow all of your feelings of bitterness and depression and unworthiness and frustration and fear, and instead of seeing them as proof of your weakness, you would view them as an opportunity to exercise your courage on the way to your success? How powerful would you be then? In my hotel room that evening, I learned my lesson. Instead of running from discomfort, I chose my dream instead. Now, around that same time, I left a 7-year marriage. I told him to keep everything, and I walked away with a suitcase of clothes, and I threw out all the clothes. I moved from Orlando to Hollywood, California, where I got a job teaching aerobics, and I rented a small unfurnished studio apartment, and I slept on a broken air mattress. Basically, the only thing I had to my name, besides the broken air mattress, was this dream of becoming a professional aerialist. But the only thing that I could do up until that time, oh, he's so cute. The only thing I could do up until that moment, up until that time, were the 3 basic aerial tricks I'd learned for a show that was now over. I didn't have a coach. In fact, there were no aerial studios or circus schools anywhere near me, and those that were far away were for children. Now, at age 28, that didn't help me. So I had to become my own guinea pig. And because I didn't know the correct way to do the aerial tricks and wraps, I got tangled in a lot of knots. And because I didn't know the proper athletic clothing to wear, I have many second-degree aerial rope and fabric burns. And because I didn't know that even though one of the aerial acts I was learning is called aerial silks, but you don't actually train on real silk fabric, I caught the back of my pant leg on fire doing a slack drop on real silk. So I really had to learn everything through trial and error. You know, most people don't dream big enough. You know when you've dreamed big enough, when your dream seems impossible. But have you ever dreamed an impossible?
Wait, pause there. Pause there. That was a really big thing you said. Say it again. You know you dream big enough when?
Your dream seems impossible. That's the time.
That's a really big,
Yeah.
You've said a lot of golden nuggets, and I've tried to write them down, but that's a really big one. So actually, before you say your next sentence, I would love everybody, and myself included, to answer that question for yourself. Like, what is the dream that seems impossible that you actually have for yourself?
Yeah.
It's a really big question. So if you have pen and paper, you could jot it down, or if you want to type it into, be brave and type it into the chat, that would be really powerful. Let's just take a moment there, Christine.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm thinking of my own too. Yeah, I'll put mine in the chat, although I have a dog in my hand, so it's hard to. Anybody else willing to put theirs in the chat? Okay, I put mine. Don't leave me hanging out there by myself. Here comes Mitchell's. Financial freedom without attachment. Nice. What else? Your dream that seems impossible. I mean, I could probably come up with more, I'm sure. Replace financial capital with the other more important forms of capital: human, natural, social, and connection. That seems possible to me. Songwriter, yeah. Oh, me too, me too. Make a great living by serving people who will love and nurture my growth. Yes. Oh, absolutely, Emily. I don't want to be the songwriter, Andy. I want to be the singer. So you can write the songs and I'll sing them with my guitar. Anybody else want to share theirs? Yeah, keep going. Nancy, a lucrative business that is run by others that allows me to live in nature and write. Yahoo. Yes, you're on your way to that. Become a famous singer-songwriter. Yes. Unconditional acceptance of all there is. TV talk show host. Oh my gosh. TV talk show host. I'll be your guest. Oh, these are beautiful. Having a partner that I can grow old with. Yes. Need to archive this list. Yes. My dreams are so impossible. I hesitate to even picture it. Falling in love, sharing my life with my partner. Yes. Thank you, Neil. I think that was exactly what Christine brought in, the energy of, if it seems impossible, then you know you've landed on your biggest and most powerful dream. Move to Italy, buy a farmhouse, grow most of my food, creating meaningful work. Oh, that sounds lovely. Ooh, yeah, we can all do that. Beautiful. Okay, I know I pressed pause and you were about to say something else. Where were you headed, Christine? One thing I would love to hear as you're sharing, living in an eco-village, finding love again, moments of ecstasy. Oh, yes, so many of these are my dreams too. I had read something on your webpage that, you know, your like coach, you know, early on was like, yeah, everybody's great. And then there's Christine. So anyway, I just love to hear more of like.
Oh, I'll tell that story after this, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Total financial freedom to travel. Yeah, absolutely. When I'm a famous author, that's what I'm going to do, have total financial freedom to travel.
Mhm.
Yeah, ditto. Me too.
These are great dreams.
Yeah. I'll make sure to save the chat when I
Definitely.
get the recording. Find a loving relationship with a life partner. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Go ahead, Christine. What was your next sentence?
Well, have you ever dreamed an impossible sounding dream and then felt overwhelmed at the magnitude of how to achieve it? I wanted to be an aerialist more than I wanted anything in the whole world, but I didn't feel like an aerialist. I felt like a fraud. Have you ever felt like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here because I don't have the skills, the ability, the tools, the knowledge, the experience, the education that other people think I have? I'm a fraud, I'm a fake, I'm a phony, I'm not good enough. Well, this is how I felt. But I want you to know that if you have ever felt those feelings, if you're a fraud like I am, that you are in good company. Because most people who feel this feeling, they suffer from something called imposter syndrome, which isn't a real syndrome or a mental disorder, but it is a real psychological experience that up to 70% of the people in the world suffer from, most without even being aware of it. People from all walks of life, men, women, children, those of you with alcoholic or abusive parents, as well as those of you with perfect ideal childhoods. There's no vaccine and there's no immunity to this. It can happen anytime, any place, anywhere. As a CEO, if you're a parent or a child, or a student or an athlete, or as I discovered as a fledgling aerialist. And I frankly had no idea how to become a professional aerialist. So I was suffering pretty badly from imposter syndrome. So like I said, if you guys are an imposter, like I am, you'll be happy to know that you are in good company. Most high-level successful people suffer from imposter syndrome. Meryl Streep, Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou. I have taught world champions and Olympians and celebrities, and no amount of medals or success prevents one from suffering from feeling doubt about themselves. To some extent, we're all just winging it. You're not alone. In fact, it is the highest achievers, the ones who are pushing their areas of expertise, who are most likely to suffer from imposter syndrome, which is what was happening to me, which made believing in my dream tough and believing in self-doubt easy. So I came up with a plan. I thought, if I can't get myself to believe this whole ambitious dream of becoming a professional aerialist, what if I reprogram my thinking and I just get myself to believe in that next little step toward that dream? I mean, that I can do. And that I know all of you guys can do. So I broke my dream down into its simplest components, into baby steps. And so I knew I needed to learn some tricks. I needed a costume. I needed some choreography. I needed to book some gigs. And then I just broke those dreams down into their like the smallest baby steps that I could find. So I didn't need to believe that I could become an aerialist. I just had to find a place to train. And I didn't have to believe I could become an aerialist. I just had to buy 2 yards of costume fabric. And I didn't have to believe I could become an aerialist. I just had to climb that next climb up the rope. That I could believe in. And no, it wasn't easy. I mean, it's painful climbing on shredded hands. It's scary hanging 30 feet off shredded hands. But when my wounds reopened, I rebandaged them and I ignored the pain. And when I felt afraid, I'd remember something my old acrobatic coach, Yorick, used to say when I was a kid. Don't worry, Kristinka. If you fall, the ground will catch you. And by continuing to focus on one pull up the rope at a time, I created a momentum of confidence through incremental wins. My hands healed over and grew a protective layer of callus. My body changed shape. I dropped 5 dress sizes and gained muscles. the climbing got easier, and tricks that felt like torture during my first class started to feel like second nature. And by continuing to take one step after the next, I created enough confidence to spend $6,000, which was the bulk of my savings, on the best video promo that I could manage making. And then I quit my job teaching aerobics, and I spent my days marketing that video to one entertainment agency after the next, after the next. I must have sent out that video promo to over 300 people, or 300 agencies. I got back one callback, one. And she asked me to do one corporate show in Las Vegas, one. And I was thrilled because all I needed was one opportunity to prove myself. So I told her, let me check my calendar.
I'm free.
I'm free. Okay, I can do it. I showed up at that venue as the consummate professional. I came early. I asked, what can I do to make your job easier? And although I was shaking in my leotard, I was so nervous. I performed an aerial act that I was proud of. And that one opportunity triggered a series of referrals that launched my career. And ever since that day, over 20 years ago, I've been traveling the world to over 50 countries as a professional aerialist. My point is this: it doesn't matter whether you're climbing a circus rope or a corporate ladder. The rules are the same. We don't learn to believe in ourselves by taking grand leaps, but by taking one step after the next. So the good news is that confidence is learnable. And as you learn, that crucial belief takes root and spreads into all parts of your life. So I just want you to remember 3 points from the stories I just told you. One is make space for discomfort. Instead, learn to thrive within the inevitable discomfort of feeling not good enough. Step 2 is allow yourself to feel all of your feelings without judgment and view them as opportunities to exercise your courage on the way to your success. And step 3, break your dreams down into their simplest components. And no, because I'm telling you, you don't have to believe you can climb all the way to the top today. You just have to believe with all of your heart that you can take the next step. By believing in myself, every single extraordinary experience since that moment became possible. And I want to share one last memory of the story with you of Paul McCartney rehearsing in this gigantic stadium, all these songs I had heard since I was in my mother's womb. I was opening for him that evening before 100,000 people as a solo artist, as an aerialist. Suddenly, Paul stopped his rehearsal and he pointed directly at me and he said, "Hey, you, Christine, watch this." Then he proceeded to kick into a handstand and he fell over and he burst out laughing. This man who has reached the pinnacle of success in the world was trying to connect with me and the things that I love to do. I got to experience that because I chose to believe. Take a break for a moment and I'll tell you my next story about the one you were asking about.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow. Thank you. The story about Paul McCartney is so.
I know. That's a great memory of mine.
I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm just checking the time. I wonder if anybody has any questions. That's the first thing I'm wondering. And if so, put me in the chat and then we'll have you unmute. Okay. I was thinking about breakout rooms to discuss what you just brought up, but you said you had another story, so now I'm feeling a little torn.
You can break out and come back or whatever you think.
Okay, I would love to do breakout rooms just for about 5 minutes to have you guys pair up. Let me see if I can do it and talk about what Christine just brought up for yourself in terms of dividing. You've identified your dream. It seems impossible. And if you were going to take one baby step towards it, I have a story myself around this actually, which I'll tell. If you could take one baby step towards it, what would it be? So that's the question. If somebody wants to type that in the chat for me, that would be great. If somebody wants to type that in the chat, that would be awesome. I'll take that support. And I just want to give you like, yeah, about, let's see, it's 9:42, so maybe about 5-6 minutes total. I'll tell you when to shift. I'll send you a note to say halftime. If you don't want to go into the breakout room, you can stay. And you can just stay here and I'll work it out. Okay? If you end up in a room by yourself, just come on back. We can talk in the big room. That way you just keep it really simple. Hold on. Christine, don't go in. And because yours is going to show up.
Don't do what?
Yeah, don't go in.
Go in.
Don't go into the breakout room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't pushing anything.
Yeah, don't go in. Okay. See you back here in just a few minutes. And we've got a couple of questions that we can address when we come back. Everybody who's here in the main room is here because you didn't want to go into a breakout room, right? Okay, so let me just double check that. We've got, let's see. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Just gonna set my timer.
Do you want a discussion while we're here in this area, or should we just wait for the group?
I think we'll just wait for the group. I assume everyone who's here in the main room is just not wanting to share one-on-one and share. So we'll give that a little space, and it's not a long breakout room, so should be fine. And I think it worked out that everyone's in with somebody. Nice. Okay. My puppy's sleeping in my arms. Did somebody end up putting my question in the chat? Yeah, I think, oh, Denise did. Perfect. Okay, they've got 2 more minutes.
What's your dog's name?
This one's name is Oliver.
So cute.
He's cute. He's cute. He came into the den with me and peed.
Nice. Good morning.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, okay, I'm gonna close the rooms. I'm going to tell my story, but I do see a question in the chat. How do you deal with repeated steps backwards? It's just a good question.
My story is pretty long to answer that. You should probably tell your story first.
I'll tell my story first, and we only have 10 more minutes, so.
Okay.
Yeah, my story's brief. And I think we're all back. Are we? Yes, we are. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for doing that. I know sometimes breakout rooms can be a little, they're awesome, and they can also be a little jarring because you don't know who you're going to end up with. So, you know, when we do my workshops and we all choose in person, we know who we're going to be with in the conversation, and so breakout rooms can be a little jarring to the nervous system, I think. Anyway, I was going to tell my story, which is really brief, but kind of relates, although I'm, you know, not a famous marathon runner or anything. But I did run a 10-mile race about about maybe 18 years ago. And I had just had a baby, and I was kind of a mess after pregnancy and delivery and all that. And so it probably was like a year later, but it was still like, my body was not in good shape at all. I was home. I wasn't feeling so great. You know, any of you have had that experience, you can raise your hand and let me know I'm not alone. Thank you, Laura. Anyway, I got this idea to run this 10-mile race, which in the town of Harvard in Massachusetts has in the fall, and they call it like the fall leaves or something, because it's during the peak of, you know, the autumn leaf beauty. And anyway, I had done a little bit of running like in high school and college, but not anything at all, like not even on the track team, let's just put it that way, right? I just would like, oh, I'm gonna jog, like this is really cool, I'm gonna jog 3 miles, like that was my thing. But I was in really, really bad shape, and I had a baby that needed to be pushed in a stroller. So I did kind of what you said, Christine. I remember the first day, like I will never forget it. I was like, I'm gonna run for like 3 minutes, and if I can jog for 3 minutes pushing a jogging stroller, I'll be really, really happy. And I did that. And then the next day I did a little more, and I just did it like that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I entered myself in this 10-mile race. 10 miles, so really far.
Great.
And I came in last, which was totally great. A friend of mine who's like a marathon runner, like up and down, she stayed with me, and we crossed the finish line together.
Aww.
And it was just such a great accomplishment. And I did exactly what you said. I just took it in like the tiniest bits. And it was amazing. It's an amazing thing to do.
That's great.
Yeah, that's my story.
Love it.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing in the comments. That was good. Helps me feel connected with real people with real struggles to share. Yeah, thank you. Does anybody else have a story like that? I'd love to hear it. Love for you to share it, just like Richard said, like, you know, real stories, real people. Anybody want to share their little baby step? And then I think we should answer the question that that Jan had. But anybody want to put in the chat or share the baby step they're going to take, or they're thinking they would take? I hear some keyboards.
It's me.
I should think of my own, because I would really like to write that book, and I have been doing some writing, but once I get serious about it, I need to come up with my baby step. Nancy, you have something?
Well, I was just thinking that, I write and I speak and I do different things, but I have to say, when you've been doing stuff for a while, you don't take it necessarily seriously, like where it's going to bring you. So I just went to a conference and they talked about reverse engineering. So they said, especially around finance, to say like, well, what do you want to make for the month, or what do you want to make for the year? But I think for me in this conversation today, thinking, well, what do I actually want to accomplish with my speaking and my writing, and just get it a lot more clear. And then when I take the steps, like I know I have an event on Thursday, and it is about taking the next right thing. I have somebody who's going to be speaking, and it's from the Frozen 2 movie, where there's this wonderful song where they break out into song about all you have to do is the next right thing. And, it just fits with what Christine is saying, like perfectly. So like, I started working on the other day, and I had the video and I had all these ideas of what I could do. And usually it's like, oh, I do this on a regular basis, so I don't think about it all that much. I've gotten like really excited about it. So I just feel like bring the excitement back into the things that I do, and have them occur like they are actually the next right step. And that this is going somewhere, not like I'm maintaining something, but that I'm actually creating something. And I think that makes a big difference.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really important. I love what you said. Not just maintaining something, but creating something.
Yeah.
And having that in your mind and having that intention there.
Yeah.
So that it's purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that Frozen too. Great. Let's hear from Laura S. There's two Laura S.
Laura S.
Yeah.
Okay, so my TV talk show host dream is actually something from childhood. It's just kind of a really fun thing for me to envision. And so I was thinking a first step might be to just interview a friend, and maybe even post it somewhere, like on Facebook or something along those lines. So yeah, just pure fun. So, and who knows what will go. So, but it's an opportunity to be creative and have some joy and connection. So,
Absolutely.
If anybody wants to volunteer,
to be interviewed by you?
yes.
You've got volunteers. You've got Nancy, Emily, me. Who else?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Laura, put your email in the chat now, and so that we can email you.
Oh, how fun. Okay.
I think that's a great idea, because the talk show host, it's like a label, but what you illuminated was the qualities that having that experience would bring to you. That's what you're looking for, right? Is
yes.
You said creativity, engagement, connection,
yes.
And fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got Laura's email there.
Cool.
So I know Laura. She is a lovely person, as you can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Likewise.
You got and Laura, you've got Linda, Emily, and also Nancy can put her email in the chat, and you can write those down so you can connect with them.
Okay, have fun. Wonderful. Thanks.
So in the last minute, Christine, I know we're not going to get to all your stories. Matthew, I'll be sending out information to find Christine on Instagram, etc. And so you'll be able to hear any of her, other shares and other talks with that information. And, but I do think in the last minute, Christine, that question Jan had about what do you do if, there's a lot of steps backward. Like, I think that's how you phrased it.
Yeah.
Repeated steps. back?
Well, what I found is I try to create a launch team, what I call a launch team. And what it is people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And in Costa Rica, I co-own an aerial retreat center with Jonathan Conant. And on a daily basis, we have first-time flyers climb 22 feet up this like hanging ladder the size of a flagpole, and they step onto this little bitty wooden board, and they're terrified. They're shaking, you know, like you'll see these grown men with muscles and tattoos, and they're just like shaking like a wet chihuahua out there. And they're terrified that they're not going to make it through this experience, you know, until the boards worker beside them tells them, "You've got this. I know you can do this. I believe in you." And he or she holds their faith just for a moment, and suddenly they're flying. And it's amazing to see these people come out of the net fully transformed, thinking, "Oh my God, if I can do that, what else am I capable of?" And the thing is that these people have somebody who believes in them more than they believe in themselves. And if you can create groups like that, like mastermind groups, where you're getting fresh ideas, because I don't know if you're moving backwards because you're trying the same thing over and over, that's not working or what. But if you have people in a group that are collaborating and there's interdependence, then you're creating more creativity, more ideas, and you have support. And I think that's what I would do, because I know for me, every time I'm trying something new, I mean, I need a flux of new ideas and support and people to believe in me.
That is such the right answer, Christine. That was beautiful. Yes, and it's something that isn't innate in our culture. We need to learn that. That's my experience, that we need to have support circles around us. We need to engage other people to support us, that believe in us, that can see us more clearly than we see ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's something that I don't think that we're raised to practice. And so, yeah, it's really, really important what you said. And it reminds me of like fire walks that I've done and different things where people were like, "I believe in you, you can do this."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Absolutely.
"Okay, I'm gonna trust you." Yeah, beautiful. So while we're closing, there's a question about your retreat center in Costa Rica. So if you want to put that in the chat, Christine, that way people can have that information. Of course, I assume I'll be sending that out as well, but since the question's there from Denise, who also travels to Costa Rica.
There it is.
Yeah.
March.
It didn't come to the big.
Oh, I went to Michael. I don't know how to make it to everybody. Sorry.
Oh, just click on, see where it says 2:? Just click on that. You can scroll up to everyone. It's probably because Michael put something in the chat.
Oh.
You'll figure it out while I'm talking. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here and thank Christine for coming. And if we don't get this into the chat, don't worry, I'll send it out later. And so next week, anyway, first of all, that was amazing. So first of all, I just want to send energy to Christine.
Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. And I think I figured it out. There you go.
Oh, good. Yeah. That was so awesome. Beautiful story, beautiful life, and such wonderful teachings. It's one thing to do all these amazing things, but it's another thing to reflect on how you got there and be able to share that with people. I mean, that just like triples and doubles your impact in the world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being uncomfortable and as people were arriving and being present with that. Another beautiful teaching about being present with your feelings and allowing them all and using them as your allies, like incredible. I look forward to seeing more of you out there in the world. Yeah, and thank you everybody. And so next week I decided to do something for the last quarter of the year and have the last Tuesday of every month be a community gathering. And so I don't want to say too much more about what it will be about, but we won't have a formal presenter per se, but we will have an incredible community gathering, all of us together. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And so I've scheduled that for next Tuesday. Yay, thanks for your enthusiasm. And that'll be, I have that scheduled for the end of October, end of November, end of December. So, and we've got some really amazing, October 6th is the next speaker, which is one of my teachers from actually calling in from Costa Rica, dialing in from Costa Rica, one of my shamanism teachers. And I'm really excited to have him and his wife. So that's October 6th. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your comments in the chat. And we'll see you next week. Have a beautiful day. Lots of love. Mwah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Bye.
Have a great week, everyone. Thanks,
Bye,
Christine.
everyone.
Thank you
Happy
so much.
fun.
Robyn. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome. Love to all of you. I'm so glad you unmuted.
Thank you, Robyn, and thank you,
You're
Lisa. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Frida. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for organizing this.
You're welcome.
This is a wonderful gift.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you.
Good to see you too.
You too. I wish I could see your face, but
Oh, I'm just not ready yet.
no worries. I have a good imagination.
Oh, listen, your email always goes to junk mail, even
Oh.
though I have it in my contacts book. And
Hmm.
so I am like always looking, where is the contact? And
Oh.
that's why I'm late.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry it does that. Something about love that makes Gmail think it's about something else.
It's terrible. Yeah.
All right. Well, anytime you arrive is a good time.
It's true.
And it's
Especially-
by the way, Frida, it's the same link every week.
so how do I store it someplace that I can just go there and click on it?
Yeah, let's have an email exchange. Email me after this and I'll help you out.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.